What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Asus G15 Advantage gameplay video for you guys today. And today, we're checking out Elden Ring Nighttreign. And so far, it's been a pretty damn fun game. I'm just as bad at it as I remember myself being at Elden Ring at first, but I eventually got alright at Elden Ring. Definitely nothing to write home about by any stretch of the imagination, but at least good enough to beat the game. But in any case, now we're gonna go ahead, see what it can do on the G15 Advantage at 1080p. We'll try maxing it out. It seems like the kind of game it might be able to do that with, at least at 1080p. And if it can't, though, we'll obviously drop it down to high, and we'll go as low as medium. I'm not dropping it any lower than medium. It's a mid-range laptop still, and I don't think it needs to have everything on low, especially not 1080p already. Especially since we're already getting pretty close to like 60 on low on like the, what do you call them, allies and stuff, and this thing's quite a bit more powerful than the allies. But why don't we stop yakking, get into the game, and why don't we find out for sure? Well, normally maxing out games is not the greatest idea, especially on mid-range stuff like this, but this game looks like a pretty easy game to run. So, should be able to handle it at least at 1080. 1440, we might get into some issues, but it should be fine at least for 1080p. Although, if I remember correctly, there's one spot where it does have some weird stutters. But, either way, let's hop into the game and you'll see what I mean. Alright, let's get some camera recorded gameplay now. I should not fuck with you. Oh shit. Oh, wow. So fucked. Yep. Oh well. We tried. Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew. Alright, looks like we gotta get a move on already. Shiver me timbers. Ah, there's too many of your little buddies around. video, or I will surely die. I'm gonna die anyway, but I prefer to stay alive for as long as possible. Oh, they got me look good. I almost thought I was going to get one of them, and for whatever reason, it didn't seem to like him very much. He was dropping down to 30 FPS, but I'm just going to chalk that up to the computer acting wonky on 1080p. It probably won't do that on 1440 or anything like that. Whatever. I'll take it. Better than getting absolutely nothing for all that work, you know? Alright though, I'd say that's probably more than good, so why don't we go ahead and wrap this video on up. Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Elden Ring Nighttreign at 1080p on the Asus G15 Advantage, and it did a pretty good job. The only time I saw it drop frames when we were fighting the bosses, and I think that was just computer being wonky. We'll see if it does it at 1440 as well. Otherwise, I'll have to say, okay, well I guess certain spots can't handle it, but if that's the case, I'm willing to bet you no matter what, it would have probably done that crap, you know, during the boss, even if we had it on low, for all we know. But in any case, I think it was doing more than good enough, seeing as though I think that was the only time in the entirety of the time we were playing that it did anything like that. So I'd say more than playable. Now hopefully it'll be the same at 1440. That'd be just great. In fact, who knows? Maybe it'll even be better. Since all we need is 60 in this game, you can't go over it, at least not stock. I'm sure there's ways to unlock it and stuff, but I'm sure if you play online, I'm offline right now. If you play online with stuff like that, I've heard people get banned for stuff like that. So I'm not going to be doing any of this stuff because I eventually want to go online and whatnot, and I definitely don't want to get banned for just having a higher frame rate while playing, you know? So anyway, that is that for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video because I sure as hell enjoy making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.